It was one of America's most admired companies, the aerospace giant Boeing. But following a series of devastating quality concerns in recent years, Boeing has suffered quite a fall. Kris Van Cleave explores its turbulent times.
Every 2 seconds, a Boeing 737 takes off or lands somewhere around the world. For over a century, Boeing airplanes have embodied American engineering prowess, a confidence colloquially expressed in the saying,
"Rotate.
If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going."
It was pride in our country's iconic manufacturer. There were no boundaries on it for what great it could do.
Dennis Tazier is a 737 captain.
Class 1.
He's flown for American Airlines for over 30 years.
Did you see it as the gold standard of aircraft?
It was the only standard.
It's interesting how you tell these stories about Boeing. All of them are in the past tense.
Yeah. These are the stories of Boeing past. Boeing had our trust because they earned it. Boeing was a great company, but it's no longer a great company.
For Tazier,
And we clear to land.
who has become an outspoken critic of Boeing's leadership, things changed in the aftermath of the 737 MAX crashes in 2018 in Indonesia and 2019 in Ethiopia, resulting in 346 deaths.
I would like to apologize.
Boeing apologized and said they'd do better. But then this January, a door panel on a 737 MAX blew out in flight. There were no serious injuries, but Boeing's reputation was wounded again. It's a stark contrast for the storied company known for putting engineering and quality first, one that started in 1916 building seaplanes in Seattle, Washington. Boeing became a symbol of national pride during World War II, churning out 16 B-17s every day.
Optimism for the dawn of the jet transport age, these airliners riding the sky lanes by 1959.
Boeing then introduced Americans to the jet age, launching 4 new successful airplanes in just over a decade: the 707, 727, 737, and 747, the world's first jumbo jet.
1, liftoff.
All while building the rockets
It's one small step for man,
that helped put a man on the moon.
one giant leap for mankind.
So how did we get here, to Boeing facing a potential criminal trial and dealing with a loss of public confidence?
In your book, you talked about the crashes exposed the rotted culture of an iconic American company. Is that what happened? The culture rotted at Boeing?
That's pretty much directly from the words of Boeing's employees. It's systemic, it's culture. Senior leadership had its eye on stock price, had its eye on share buybacks, and weren't listening to the people on the ground.
Investigative reporter and author Peter Robison wrote Flying Blind, the 737 MAX tragedy, and the fall of Boeing. He started covering the company shortly after the 1997 merger between Boeing and McDonnell Douglas.
One person at Boeing described the people from McDonnell Douglas as hunter-killer assassins. They came into this collegial environment at Boeing and just went through them like a knife through butter.
Well, it's the kind of deal for which the word blockbuster is reserved. Boeing merging with McDonnell Douglas to form the largest aerospace company in the world.
Since that 1997 merger, Boeing has become a corporate behemoth in defense, space, and commercial aviation. By 2019, it had spent more than $60 billion on stock buybacks, helping boost its stock price by over 1,000%.
How did Boeing get to the point of, we can't get a plane we've been building since 1967, right?
Boeing lost control of its production system. It spun off parts of it that were essential. These aren't just interchangeable commodities. It's a complex product that needs to have a different level of scrutiny every step of the way.
And it's ultimately people's lives at stake.
Exactly. This is a business where one miss is too many.
After its third miss this January, where a door panel blew out of an Alaska Airlines 737 at 16,000 feet, Boeing said more of the same, eerily similar to the statements after the 737 MAX crashes. We're sorry, and we're fixing it. Boeing now says it's investing heavily in engineering to, quote, enable safe and sustainable flight in the years ahead. We had hoped to sit down and talk with someone from Boeing about how the company got here and where it's going in the future. Instead, we were invited to what amounts to a media field trip and a tour of the Boeing 737 MAX production line. As part of that tightly controlled tour late last month,
this is our moment.
Senior Vice President of Quality Elizabeth Lund took some reporter questions. After the MAX crashes, we heard very similar things, and we're back here again talking about fixing problems that sound a lot like the problems that should have gotten fixed before. Why should anyone believe anyone from Boeing that you're actually fixing anything?
We are a company that is deeply committed to define public safety. We are deeply committed to our employees. We are deeply committed to doing the right thing.
Just this past week, in an effort to clean up persistent quality control problems, Boeing announced it would buy back Spirit Aerosystems, a Kansas-based contractor building the 737 fuselage. Boeing spun off Spirit in 2005 in an attempt to reduce manufacturing costs.
You see, Boeing seems to do the right thing only after they do the wrong thing. That's the problem. They react to bad things instead of being proactive.
In Captain Dennis Taser's mind, Boeing has much more work to do. How do you feel getting into the cockpit of your airplane today?
More ready than I've ever been. I have absolutely no hesitation in flying the aircraft based on what I know about it. The unnerving part is, particularly on the MAX, is I don't know what you've put on it that you decided not to tell me.
On the 737 MAX, Captain Dennis Taser now uses a rather analog tool in an otherwise digital cockpit, a Post-it note, to help remind him of another potential problem, a design issue in the engine.
The FAA sent us this airworthiness directive saying, hey, you got to be aware of this. They can get so bad that it may cause you to have to do an off-airport landing. Their words, off-airport. What the heck does that mean? That's a cornfield or the Hudson River.
Boeing expects to have a fix by next year.
I have a book of Post-it notes. Now I look at these and think, how many of these am I going to have to fill out because Boeing didn't tell me about something or they learned something new about a faulty design?
Still, Taser and every 737 pilot we spoke to say the plane is safe, but change at Boeing is desperately needed now.
It's not the airplane that I don't trust. It's the people who delivered it to me.